Nirvana and the discovery of the all negating absolute. You see, this is what Savitri has to do now. Now, this is the real sense of Savitri's Nirvana, Shivandu's Nirvana also. We have some description of it in Canto 1 of Book 3, The Pursuit of the Unknowable. Ashwapati experiences this Nirvana, pursuit of the unknowable. But here, well, in the pursuit of the unknowable, it is a spiritual experience. Here, in Savitri Yoga, now this Nirvana comes specifically in the context of the lower nature. Because what more? Yes, all these things are there. And who is shouting that? Mind. Mind is shouting that. In other words, mind is creating a kind of an obstacle in further pursuance of Savitri's yoga. And Savitri has to deal with that. Savitri has to trace where from that response is coming, where from that mind is arising. And she will be told many things later on in this canto about that thing. And then she says, annul yourself that only God be. Savitri is told, you see. And as she follows the way the mind is working, that thoughts come from above like eagle, sweeping down from above like eagles. Thoughts flash like fish in golden waters from below. They are arising from every part of your subtle body. It is not only from here, from hands, from heart, from limbs, from every limb, from every aspect of your subtle body, the thoughts are arising. Thoughts arise from the subtle body, or they come from the cosmic fields. From the cosmic fields they come like eagles swooping down. They are not your thoughts. You think that they are our thought, my thought. No, they come into you. Same way they rise in your subtle body and experience like fish. So Savitri has to trace that thing, and Savitri says, no, it cannot be. They have to go away. It cannot. Well, this is what's saying. Therefore, a calm, slow sun looked down from tranquil heaven with all those great experiences of the soul rushing into the oversoul and vice versa. There is enormous calm. Now, in this canto, we have got 3 sections, 128, 129, and 130. Yeah. Let me roll out the statistics today before we proceed. So, section 128 has 220 lines per section of this canto and 50 sentences per section. The second section, 129, has 240 lines and 55 sentences. And the third section, 130, has 185 lines and 46 sentences in all. So the total number of lines in this canto is one of the longest cantos in Savitri. The total number of lines in this canto is 645. And the total number of sentences, 151. 151 sentences. It's a long, big canto, 151 sentences.
Why does he give so much importance to the nirvana?
It's very important. If you have to do with the physical nature, that is important. Because it is that which will come in the way. Savitri's aim is not to discover the soul for the sake of soul. Savitri's discovery, Savitri's sadhana, Savitri's yoga is for a specific purpose. Ultimately, she has to conquer death. That's the whole mission. The job is fixed. You have to attain that. Now, anything which might come in the way of that battle, that has to go away. First, Savitri's yoga must be to remove all those things which might spring up. So, yes, done. That's not. But what about your inconscient nature? It will come. It will stop you. Death will capitalize on the inconscient stuff which is there in you and dismiss you. Dismiss you. Savitri has to be purely aware of all those things. Then only she can meet death. Therefore, the nirvana, blowing out all that thing, that is nirvana, is important for Savitri to meet death. Otherwise, if something is left in it, in her, then that is enough for death to capitalize upon and defeat Savitri. So it is all kind of well designed, the whole yoga of Savitri, you see. The objective is fixed, death, conquest of death. And she has to do all those things which are necessary for that purpose. So we have got 151 sentences, 645 lines, and as I told you, on average, everywhere you see that the number of lines per sentence is here in this canto 4.27. You see, exactly 4 sentences roughly. Throughout Savitri, you see that pattern. Average number of lines per sentence is about 4. You see, like a stanza, it comes with variations between. You see. Now there are a large number of revisions also. I mean, most of them are of a minor nature, but some of them are a little crucial also. In all, there are 50 revisions in the new edition of Savitri against this. In the 1993 edition, there are 50 departures from what we have here. Last time, we had just started the 6th canto of the Book of Yoga, Nirvana and the discovery of the all negating absolute. As I told you last time, it is one of the longest cantos in Savitri, with a total number of 645 lines and 151 sentences. Now, before we proceed, let me quickly number of revisions which are there in this canto. Comparison between 1951 edition and 1993 edition. What we have here is fairy air. What is made is fairy. I think this was a typical typographical mistake. It should be fairy, F-A-E-R-Y.
What does it mean, the second one?
Fairy is the angel, fair, fairy.
The first one, but the second one?
First one is fairy, fair, you see, it's not, yeah. The second one, for instance, here you have got will with comma and will without comma, punctuation. And like that, here also punctuation marks are there. But I think the most crucial revision or correction, what I want to call it, is, see now this one, see, comes to him wrapped in golden coverings. Comes to him wrapped in golden coverings. I believe that this is a dictated line. It is not written by Sri Aurobindo himself. And when you utter wrapped, you say not wrapped, wrapped, you see, W-R-A-P-T. So that is how perhaps he has written W-R-A-P-T. But I still say that this W-R-A-P-T is not wrong. It is one of the old-fashioned spelling of wrapped. This is the Miltonic spelling. Sri Aurobindo uses all those things. For instance, capped, C-A-P-P-E-D, is kept, C-A-P-T. These are the old-fashioned Miltonic spellings of that. So this is not very crucial in that sense. Now you have got here deep concealed deep concealed, hyphenated. As yet their path lay deep concealed in light. As yet their path lay deep concealed in light. See, the rhythm changes. So we don't know what actually matters here. The rhythm does change with that. Voice supreme is more appropriate with S small, where supreme is an adjective for void. Supreme is an adjective for void. Whereas void supreme, I mean, it is a common, it is a common noun, you see, double noun, you see. It doesn't, I mean, if it is, for instance, V small, void supreme, I can understand. But V capital and S capital, it doesn't make really much sense, you see. Here, as I said, the rhythm changes. Yeah, this is again grumbling speech, fumbling speech. You see, the business secret of the fumbling speech, the business secret of the grumbling speech. We can't say anything. I mean, on the basis of that, you see, no data is available, no information is given. Yeah, you see, now this one is a little critical line, critical correction, I will say. You have got, and distance deafen not to voices far, and distance deafened not to voices far. I don't know. I mean, how, if you see the text, in fact, when we come to the text, we'll see that in more carefully also, in more detail. But this is a little crucial change. Deafened has become deafened. Whether there is a textual basis to make deafened, that information is not available. But this is a little crucial change, you see. 129:20. You see.
What's the difference between the line 1 and line 2? How many years it took to change
No,
them?
meaning changes, the sense changes.
Immediately?
Yes. Yeah. When we come to the text, we'll see that. Now, before we proceed with the text, let us quickly see the paintings of Huta for this canto. Above the cherished head of Satyavan, she saw not now face dark and little orb, a golden circle round a mystic sun, disclosed to her newborn protecting sight, the cyclic rongeur of a sovereign life. Cyclic rongeur of a sovereign life. Now, of course, the text says, above the cherished head of Satyavan, cherished head of Satyavan, she sees the halo, the rongeur, totality. But what we have in the painting is around the halo of Savitri, you see. Yeah, you see. This is yeah, see, this is the problem, this is the difficulty, you see. And you are not supposed to criticize this, you see. Yeah. But it's very clear. It has to be above the head of Satyavan, not Savitri, you see. I can understand Savitri having a halo, you see. But here the picture should be Satyavan's, in fact. Once she sat in deep, felicitous muse, and abyss yawned suddenly beneath her heart. A formless dread is what we're going to see shortly. A formless dread. It's the same painting basically, but formless dread around her. Black. Do you see a difference between this painting, the eyes in this painting, and the eyes in this painting? Why I'm pointing out is because these things are happening almost immediately, one after the other, paintings. The passage is This is, see for instance now, this is 31, this is 18, and this is 10. In 10 sentences, the eyes are changed, you see, which is not true, you see. Yeah, then this one. Then from the heights a greater voice came down, the word that touches the heart and finds the soul, the voice of light after the voice of night. O soul, bear not thy kingdom to the foe. She is told, she is given advice, Savitri. So you have got now here the streaming voice. The next painting is, thus spoke the mighty and uplifting voice, and Savitri heard. She bowed her head and mused, plunging her deep regard into herself, in her soul's privacy, in a silent night. She is plunging into her own soul. Her body's thoughts climbed from her conscious limb. See, most of these paintings, all these paintings, belong practically to the earlier few sentences of the canto. Just few sentences. Suddenly now you have got another one coming late in the canto. In other words, there is a big gap between the text and the paintings. Here the description is that thoughts, in the case of yogi, they either arise from his subtle body or they come from the cosmic plane. They come from the cosmic field or they arise from his subtle body. So here, her limbs, brow, breast, belly, everything, from there the thoughts are arising, from the subtle body. You can see all these thoughts coming out from various centers of her subtle body. Thoughts either rise from the subtle body or they come from the cosmic field and enter in us. They come how? They either come as eagles sweeping down, or they come like golden fishes swimming in water. And then Savitri, almost to the end, she was advised, she was told, she was given the command that she should annul herself, that only God may be. Nothing of Savitri, nothing, only God be. This is what we have got here. Then all grew still, nothing moved anymore. Immobile, self-wrapped, timeless, solitary. A silent spirit pervaded silent space. Now here see, in one place in Savitri, you can see now here wrapped. I repeat, rapture, wrapped. Sometimes when you are dictating the line, this wrapped gets confused with WRAPT, wrapped, what we saw. And it has happened in one case in Savitri. And then what remains is finally unutterably effaced. Savitri is no more Savitri now at all. She has become impersonal. She has become non-being. Nothing of Savitri remaining as a person, as a being. Unutterably effaced, no one and null, a vanished vestige like a violet trace, a faint record merely of a self now past. So, what is that? Only kind of. She was a point in the unknowable, and the description goes on. Just a trace, you see, violet trace. So that is what Savitri has become. In fact, the text says, formless liberation came upon her. Formless liberation came upon her. Form is not there. Impersonal she has become. Totally. Yeah, well, these are the few paintings pertaining to this canto. How many? 8 paintings pertaining to this canto. So now we can go to the text. A calm sun looked down from tranquil heavens. We have seen last time that Savitri felt as if whatever had to be achieved was achieved. But then she was told, sorry, Savitri, not yet, not yet. What more, still more must be there. You see, she says that. You have answered the no, what about the yes? You have found your soul, the divine force is housed in your soul. Fine, excellent, very good. But that is not sufficient. That is the beginning. That is the necessary condition to go ahead, to move forward. Finding the soul, establishing the divine power in the soul is very good, well done. Most of the previous spiritual sadhanas get close with that. The divine soul is residing in the psychic soul here, and nothing happens. But then what about the outer nature, the physical nature, the body? The inner is conquered, but the outer has remained outer. It is still subject to ignorance, falsehood, death, pain, suffering. All those things are still there for the outer. So it is not only discovery of the soul which is going to do the thing for you. You have to also worry about the outer. Now this is absolutely typical of Sri Aurobindo's yoga. Discovery of the soul is the beginning, then you have to really start attending to the outer. And in order to attend to the outer, first thing which you have to do is empty out the outer from your being. Nirvana. Throw it out, blow it off, the outer. And make yourself an empty cup, a fully empty cup, big empty cup, so that the divine ananda, divine nectar can come and flood it, fill it up. That is important. So that is Sri Aurobindo. In other words, the body must be able to respond to the divine presence, divine power, divine love, divine beauty, divine joy. Then only there is the fulfillment, there is the proper manifestation of divinity in existence here. So this is absolutely Aurobindonian, you see. So the canto is now moving towards that. So you can see therefore the difference between, in fact, in a way, you also see the difference between the yoga of Ashwapati and the yoga of Savitri. In the case of Ashwapati's yoga, there was no stipulation that he has to annul himself totally, that only God be. In the case of Savitri, it is necessary. Because the objectives of the two yogas are different. The objective of Ashwapati's yoga is to bring down the divine power that she works here in this creation. Savitri must take the mortal birth and do her work. In order to bring her down here, whatever yoga is required, that is what we have in Ashwapati's yoga, to bring down the divine power. She is going to do the rest. What rest she is going to do? She will do all these things, yoga, etc., etc., and finally she has to conquer death. Conquest of death is not a stipulation in the yoga of Ashwapati. The stipulation is to bring down the divine power, and she will do the rest of the thing. Or what Sri Aurobindo wrote to Motilal Roy around 1912, immediately after his coming to Pondicherry. He says that there are two paths. One is the Vedantic path and the other is the Tantric path, the occult path and the spiritual path. He says that my yoga at the moment is Vedantic path, the spiritual path. By ascension, you bring down the divine force. That is yoga. The Tantric path, he says that, will begin only when the mother comes. That happens tomorrow, 29th March, 1914, you see. Tantric path. And unless she comes here, the Tantric path cannot begin. And the prayers and meditations already reveal that. The psychic opening, bringing down the supermind, the divine presence in the soul and all that. You already had that thing before she met Sri Aurobindo, before she came here. It has already come. And she had already learned occultism from none other than Theon himself, who the mother says was the incarnation of death. So from death himself he is learning the knowledge of life. The mantra of life, it is she found under his guidance, you see. So that is the Tantric path. Now, in other words, now it is that death she has to conquer. She has to conquer now Theon himself, basically. And what tremendous respect, great regard she has for Theon. She has not said even one word anywhere which will be kind of demeaning to him. She has always praised him very greatly, very highly, you see. So the question is, mother was following that path already, and she has learned all the occultism. Then was Sri Aurobindo devoid of that? All right, mother will do that part, okay, but was he devoid of that? No. See, when the mother says that it is Theon who had told her about the story of creation, the four powers who went far away from the divine source and separated, Sri Aurobindo already knew that. He already knew all that, you see. Those things. And we have a number of descriptions of that in Savitri, how the four powers separated and cut themselves off from the divine source, and how the whole thing started, you see. In one place, mother says, according to Theon, it is falsehood who has given rise to death. Falsehood is the cause of death. And she says, but according to Sri Aurobindo, it is death who is the cause of falsehood. So, if you have to remove falsehood, you have to remove death. That is what it means basically, you see. Now, how that happens, we don't know. I mean, I can't see. Impossible. Impossible. But from a kind of logic, we can see the relevance of death being the cause of falsehood. Not falsehood the cause of death. Because from Savitri itself, if falsehood was the cause of death, Savitri's yoga should have been to conquer falsehood and not death. The whole thing should have been that way. He should have been to conquer falsehood and not eliminate falsehood. Then death will automatically go. But her thrust is entirely to go at the root of things, knock off death, falsehood, etc., automatically will disappear. So she not only goes by what Shivananda says, she is practicing it, she is following it, she is pursuing it. Death as a cause of falsehood. So it is in that context now a crucial stage has arrived in the Yoga of Savitri. Soul is now fully charged with the divine presence, with the divine power. Maha Kundalini has got established herself in the soul of Savitri, and it is she now who is going to work. But for death, it's no big deal. Mahatma is all right, keep it with you. But what about the nature? What about ignorance? What about physical, the inconscient stuff which is there with you? What about that? It is that which is in possession of death. And she has to abandon that. She has to give that thing first to the Supreme Himself. Please take it away from me. And come down and live in my outer physical being also. A route is sullen, rear guard of retreat. Sullen, not happy, routed, rear guard. See, this is a description of the physical nature to some extent. It has also some relevance to what we have seen in the previous canto. There is one a new proximity, etc. In the slow process of the evolving time, what we have seen, it is a connection with that also. Rear guard, the part of the army which protects from behind, so that enemy does not come and attack from behind. Of retreat, the last rain is happening in the rainy season. The monsoon is about to be over. The last rain has fled, murmuring across the woods or fail. A sibilant whisper mid the leaves, and a great blue enchantment of the sky recovered the deep rapture of its smile. Now, this whole description means Savitri's yoga is coming, so to say, to its fruition, to its completion, when the rainy season is practically over. The last rear guard, etc., the last rains had come. Now, immediately after this realization, within a few days, Satyavan is to die. So I have not been able to resolve to myself whether the death of Satyavan occurs after the rainy season or in the summer. Because not much time is given between her yogic siddhi here and the death. Unless you say that, all right, rain has passed, and then it moves on further, and then she has to wait till the summer to come. 4 more seasons to come, you see. So that could be one difficulty. But then we can also say that Savitri had actually begun her yoga more or less at the beginning of they being together, more or less immediately after the marriage. And this process is going on for a few months, and then finally comes the rainy season. She has got the nirvanic siddhi, and then now she is ready to face death. So that could be the sequence in which things were happening. Still, the time sequence is not yet very clear to me how it is happening. Its mellow splendor unstressed with storm-lit heats, found room for the luxury of warm, mild days. The nice gold treasure of autumnal moon came floating, slipped through ripples of fairy air. This is that fairy air, you see, F-A-E-R-Y, angelic, you see. So, the rains are over, now you have got the autumn moons here. That will be approximately around October, September, October, you see. Came floating, shipped through ripples of fairy air. And Savitri's life was glad, fulfilled like hers. Yes, she has got that great realization already. She is in the company of her husband. She wanted to do what she wants to do. She got it done and all that thing. Therefore, Savitri's life was glad, obviously. Fulfilled like earth. The gladness of Savitri, it is that which gives fulfillment to earth. The gladness of Savitri's life is that which gives fulfillment to earth. But I would like also to read the other way around. And earth's life was glad, fulfilled like Savitri's. I will interchange these two. Earth's life was glad, fulfilled like Savitri's. Which is true, of course. She had found herself. She knew her being's aim. Although her kingdom of marvelous change within remained unspoken in her secret place, she has not revealed to anybody at all, neither to her husband, to her parents-in-law, to the sages and the rishis who are there around the ashram. She has not revealed to anybody at all what was happening within her. Although her kingdom of marvelous change, that marvelous change is still, of course, the inner change, not the outer yet. But still that inner change is so powerful that it radiates all around. Its presence is felt, it spreads all around. Remained unspoken in a secret breast. All that lived round her felt its magic charm. Those who are sensitive, those who have perception, they feel what a new change has taken place in the atmosphere. Where from it has come, they have no idea, but they do feel that something has definitely changed. The air is more fragrant, the breeze is cooler, the scent is very powerful, the birds are singing happily. So all those changes, they feel suddenly that all that lived round her felt like magic charm. The trees rustling voices told the wind. The flowers spoke in ardent hues and unknown joy. So the flowers are speaking out, yes, suddenly they have become different altogether. The birds caroling became a canticle. So the song of praise has become, you see, everywhere. The bees forgot the strife and lived at ease. So that is the outer change which has already taken place. The atmosphere is so powerful there that you have overcome all the common difficulties of life, existence here, completely. The trees rustling voices told it to the wind, flowers spoke in ardent hues and unknown joy. The birds caroling became a canticle, so it has become a song of praise, a hymn of adoration to the one who has brought this change. The bees forgot the strife and lived at ease. So the whole ashram is now, the deer and the lion, they are sitting together in the meditation room, you see. Nothing happened there. The bees forgot their strife and lived at ease. Absorbed in wide communion with the unseen, the mild ascetics of the wood received a sudden greeting in the lonely muse, in the meditation, in their thoughts, in their contemplation, they find that they are getting new enlightenment. New power is rushing to them. Where from it has come, they have no idea. How it has come, what has happened, they have no idea at all. But they do feel that. Those who are perceptive, see, even the birds and trees and the flowers, and of course, naturally, the ascetics will also feel that change, you see. This bright perfection of our inner state poured out, overflowing into our outward scene. So that is the outward scene, and it's flowing out everywhere. It is flooding the whole atmosphere, made beautiful, dull, common, natural things, and action wonderful, and time divine. So time divine, that is what has happened due to this inner change which has taken place in Savitri. The divine power is now established in our soul, and the time has become divine time. It is not time human. Until now it was time human. It has now become time divine. And therefore, naturally, all actions are wonderful, made beautiful, dull, common, natural things. Savitri is doing all household things, pulling the water from the well, sweeping the floor, lighting the kitchen fire. She is doing all those things, but all those common natural things have a different beauty now altogether. It is overflowing in all her actions. Even the smallest, meanest work became a sweet or glad, glorious sacrament. So it's an offering, oblation, constantly. Whatever small little things she's doing, an offering to the self of the great world, or a service to the one in each and all. Service to the one in each and all. So when Savitri is cooking food, or pulling water, or doing household things like that, it is service not to the human beings. It is service to the one, to the divine himself. It has become a service to the divine himself. Now that is the great inner change which has occurred in Savitri. Now, see, Savitri is doing all the sadhana, her yoga, inside, in the inner being. It is the occult yoga. But the power of this occult yoga is such that it has opened to the cosmic dimension. Service to the one, it is a spiritual experience. The occult, the tantric sadhana has led to the Vedantic realization. In the case of Savitri, the tantric sadhana has led to the realization of the Vedic kind, of the spiritual kind. Service to one in each and all, this is typical spiritual experience of the Vedantic. A light invaded all from her being's light. So what a powerful change. Her heartbeats danced, communicated bliss. Happiness grew happier. Brightness became brighter. Sun has become sunnier. See, all this is happening. Shared with her by her touch, and grief some solace found when she drew near. Above the cherished head of Satyavan, obviously cherished head of Satyavan, whom she loves, she saw not now face dark and little o'er. This is what the painting is trying to show us. She saw not now face dark and little o'er. A golden circle round a mystic sun disclosed to her newborn petiting sight the cyclic rondure of a sovereign life. What does she see now there? She is not seeing the dark and little orb there. She is seeing the rondure of a sovereign life around it. Means it is not this human Satyavan now. She is already seeing present there the divine Satyavan. The cyclic rondure of a sovereign life in her visions and deep spiritual dream, in brief shiftings of the future's heavy screen, he lay not by a dolorous decree that Satyavan must die 1 year after the marriage. That decree is already nullified in the soul of Savitri. That decree is no more present now in the soul of Savitri. It's gone. A victim in the dismal antry of death, or born to blissful regions far from her, forgetting the sweetness of earth's wanted light, forgetting the passionate oneness of love's cloud, absorbed in the self-wrapped immortal's bliss. So it is no more now that dolorous decree, but what we have is the immortal's bliss all around. She sees already there in Satyavan that presence is seen. Always he was with her. Satyavan would go early morning to the forest to do his routine works. But Savitri will be always with him. Always he was with her. The physical separation did not separate them. They were always together. A living soul that met her eyes with closed, enamored eyes. He did not see that thing, but it is there, that meeting there. Met her eyes with closed, enamored eyes, his eyes, you see. A living body near to her body's joy. Even on the physical plane, that union is there, that joy is there. But now, no longer in his great wild woods, in kinship with the days of bird and beast, and leveled to the bareness of earth's brown breast, but with the thinking high-built lives of men, in tapestried chambers on crystal floor, in armored town or garden pleasure walks, even a distance closer than her thoughts. Closer than her thoughts. You can imagine thoughts can go even from that closeness. Body to body, soul near to soul, moving as if by a common breath and will. So they are not really breathing different things. What Savitri is breathing simultaneously at once, it is he who is breathing, and his breath is her breath simultaneously. Body to body near, so it is not a physical separation which matters. They are physically present. The subtle bodies have become one in both the cases. Satyavan is not aware of it, but Savitri is. Body to body near, soul near to soul, moving as if by a common breath and will. They were tied in the single circling of their days, together by love's unseen atmosphere, inseparable like the earth and sky. So Satyavan and Savitri are inseparable the way the earth and the sky are inseparable. This is the Vedic phrase, earth and sky, earth and heaven. Java, Prithvi. Prithvi is earth, sky is heaven, Java. So they are always described as a couple, inseparable couple, Prithvi and heaven, Java. Thus for a while she trod the golden path. This was the sun before the abysmal night. Yes, that spiritual union is there, that is inseparable altogether. But this was only for a while. Something, what more, you see. Now the story is unfolding, you see. The story is unfolding, you see. Thus for a while she trod the golden path of the spiritual realization of identity between the two. But this golden path is not golden enough. See, is not golden enough. That is in the spiritual sense, in the inner sense, it has to become outer also. This golden path is not yet golden enough. This was the sun before the abysmal night, night capital. The primordial night which is going to challenge Savitri. Savitri, you have found your soul, all right. But what about you, your physical being, your ignorant stuff, your inconscient nature? What about them? The night is going to challenge her. This was the sun before the abysmal night. See, this night is a primordial night. And what Savitri has realized, this golden path, etc., is only the sun, small sun. It is not yet the divine sun. You see, this was the sun. If it is the divine sun, capital sun, then night has no business to be there at all, you see. So how careful, how particular each thing is there. Capitalization, lowercase, uppercase. Each one has a meaning. Here S is small, here N is large, big, capital. Each has a connotation also. This was the sun. Because Savitri has only realized something inwardly. It is not a full sun which is now present there, you see. Therefore, it is a small sun. Once, as she said, now because it is a small sun, and because it was a while only, she trod the golden path. Once, as she sat in deep, felicitous muse, she is happy in the company of her lover, still quivering from her lover's strong embrace. Now, this is the line which is most disturbing line. Savitri is doing yoga. She is committed to sadhana. And she is quivering with the lover's embrace. What does that mean? Sex, the lower vital things, they are taboos in spiritual practices. Savitri is having such a realization and still she is quivering in her lover's embrace. That seems a little contradictory. How can Savitri do that sort of a thing at all? She is doing such great yoga, she is treading the golden path, and on the one hand she is treading the golden path, and on the other she is still quivering in her lover's embrace. You see? Are these not contradictory things? This is not possible at all. In fact, all the spiritual practices, even the religious practices, the priest, they are not supposed to marry and have conjugal relationship with him. Even ordinary things like that, you see. But for a spiritual person who is committed to life, this is something not allowed to happen at all. Still quivering from a lover's strong embrace. So the poet is very strong. You see, you can see the physical power which is present in this praise. You see, Satyavan is a young man, hardly 25 years. Savitri is a young girl, and when they are joining together, naturally the embrace will be strong physical embrace. You see, and she is quivering with that embrace. You see. And made her joy a bridge betwixt earth and heaven, but the joy could be still a bridge between earth and heaven. And abyss yawned suddenly beneath her heart. Now, why at all this description? See, all right, this would have been enough for us, that this was the sun before the abyss of the night, and you could have proceeded further. A vast and nameless fear dragged at her nerves. This sentence was not necessary for abysmal night and vast nameless thing. But then why this sentence at all? This is of course purposeful, intentional, necessary, describing the preciseness of Savitri's condition. This is necessary. It shows that Savitri, although inwardly she is following, treading the golden path, the physical is still physical, the vital is still vital, the mental is still mental. And they will respond in their own way. When the embrace is vital, she will quiver that embrace. In other words, the difficulty or the necessity is accentuated by the yogi by putting this sentence. Yes, Savitri's soul is there, but what about Savitri's physical nature, outer nature, outer nature? You see. It is still outer nature. It is still responding to all those things belonging to the outer world, outer natures. It is there. So, in other words, he is accentuating it in the case of Savitri. That it has to be there. In other words, Savitri has now to attain to this part of her sadhana, of her yoga. She has to attain to this part of the yoga. Once as she sat in deep felicitous muse, still quivering from her lover's strong embrace, and made her joy a bridge betwixt earth and heaven. So now this joy is of course the vital joy which is bridging earth and heaven. That won't do. It has to be given up. And abyss yawned, because it is that vital, therefore there is a deep chasm and something is springing up from the chasm. Coming up from the chasm. And abyss yawned suddenly beneath her heart, you see. A vast and nameless fear dragged at her nerves. It tracks a wild beast, its half-slaughtered prey. It seemed to have no den from which it sprang, because it was vast and nameless darkness. It seemed to have no den from which it sprang. It was not hers, but hid its unseen cause. It came from outside. It came from outside, all right, but there was still something in Savitri which was responding to that. It was able to make an impact on her. It came all right from outside. A vast and nameless fear. There cannot be fear when you are with that realized soul. Absolutely no chance of fear. Fear comes because of the vital. Something which is not opening out in the vital, it is that which causes fear. So therefore that fear, something in Savitri has to open out to higher light, higher power, higher peace, so that the vital becomes bright, luminous, responsive. A vast and nameless fear is that, you see. It was not hers, but hid its unseen God. Then rushing came its vast and fearful pound, a formless dread. You see, it is coming from the abyss, from the chasm, from the formless dread with shapeless, endless wings. So you can imagine the magnitude of this dread. Shapeless, endless wings, filling the universe, which is a dangerous depth, a denser darkness than the night could bear. This is terrific. Darkness which night itself cannot bear, it is that kind of a darkness from which the dread is coming. Something deep below. The night, which is darker than night. In other words, in the background of that darkness, night will look a little brighter. Night will envelop the heavens and possess the earth. So it is that cosmic dread. Not her. He says it is not, it came from outside. It is the cosmic dread which is invading Savitri, because Savitri has something in her which can open out to that. A rolling surge of silent death. So that is the dread of death. It came curving round the far edge of the quaking globe. So it is the globe now which is quaking. Savitri was quivering, but now it is the globe which is quaking. Effacing heaven with its enormous stride, it willed to expand the choked and anguished air and end the fable of the joy of life, the joy of life. The joy of life has become fable, and it is that fable which has to be terminated And that is what the dread is there for. That is the naked dance of Kali. Paris shall be destroyed, Paris shall be destroyed. That is what she was dancing during the Second World War, in the early stages. Paris shall be destroyed. Kali's dance, and that had to be stopped. And end the fable with the joy of life. It seemed her very being to forbid, abolishing all by which her nature lived. So whatever she had acquired, it was going to be forbidden by this one. And labor to blot out her body and soul, a clutch of some half-seen invisible, an ocean of terror, an ocean of terror. See, you can see the magnitude of this one. Ocean of terror and of sovereign might, a person and a black infinity. So that is the cosmic dread now which Savitri is facing. And that is because her outer is not yet open, has not yet opened. A person and a black infinity. Black infinity, that's the most beautiful phrase, you see. It is as infinite as the white infinity. Is seen to cry to her without thought or word the message of his dark eternity. Again, black infinity, dark eternity. And the awful meaning of his silence is out of some sudden, monstrous, vast reason, out of an abysmal deep of grief and fear, imagined by some blind, regardless self, a consciousness of being without its joy. It has no joy at all, it is constant. Empty of thought, incapable of bliss, that felt the life blank and nowhere found its soul. A voice to the dumb, anguish of the heart, conveyed a stark sense of unspoken world. In her own depths, she heard the unuttered thought. Savitri is hearing in her own depths. Unuttered thought, what? That made unreal the world and all life meant. See, Savitri is hearing, what is this world? This unreal, illusion, maya, mithya, false, meaningless, useless, thrown away. She is kind of hearing that. That made unreal the world and all life meant. And the voice, he seemed to cry, the cry of that voice. Who art thou who claim the crown of separate birth? Who are you, Savitri? That you are somebody special, somebody different from others? Who are you? You want to have a crown of jewels on your head? What for? What is the greatness in you? Who art thou? That voice, see. Who art thou who claim the crown or separate birth? Now here or is off in the Revised Edition. Who art thou who claim the crown of separate birth? I don't know. The illusion of the soul's reality. So that voice is saying what you are seeing, experiencing, after what is that? It's an illusion. And personal Godhead on an ignorant globe in the animal body of imperfect man. Hope not to be happy in a world of pain. The voice is aware what Savitri is looking for, to be happy. And the voice is, sorry Savitri, you cannot be happy in a world of pain. You cannot be. The world of pain is the reality. You have to live with that. Because, again, going back, all right, the inner has realized but not the outer. The outer is going to experience the pain of the world of pain. It has to. And dream not listening to the unspoken word and dazzled with the inexpressible ray, transcending the mute superconscious realm, to give a body to the unknowable. In other words, this voice, this dread, knows what Savitri is up to. Savitri's yoga is to give a body to the unknowable, to give shape, form, concreteness to the unknowable. That voice is aware of it, and that voice is challenging to Savitri. Savitri, you cannot do that. In other words, whatever this voice is going to tell to Savitri, it is that which Savitri has to do. She has to give body to the unknowable. She has to give shape to that, you see. For a sanction to thy heart's delight, to burden with bliss the silent, still, supreme, profaning its bare and formless sanctity, or call into thy chamber the divine, call into thy chamber the divine, in thy physical. You want to call him down into divine, you are doing something wrong, something not possible. That is a challenge. In other words, whatever this voice is going to tell Savitri, Savitri says, Savitri is going to do that thing. She is going to call in her chamber the divine and sit with God, tasting a human joy. How can it be? This is what the voice is saying to Savitri. But actually she is tasting God's joy in the physical. A strong embrace. She was still quivering in her lover's strong embrace. I have created all, that voice is telling. I have created all I devour. Death is the devourer. Asanaya mrityu, that is what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. I am the hunger, death is the hunger, and all this creation is my food. I am hungry for that food. I am the hunger, and it is for my consumption. I have created all I am devourer. I am death and the dark, terrible mother of life. I am Kali, black and naked in the world. I am Maya, and the universe is my cheat. Yes, this is what happened. I have created all these false things. I am Kali, black and naked. That was the dance of Kali. She is shouting, Paris shall be destroyed, Paris shall be destroyed. I am Kali, black and naked in the world. I lay waste human happiness with my breath and slay the will to live, because I am the devourer, death. The joy to be that all may pass back into nothingness. Hunger, which will bring back everything to nothing. That is what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Hunger, the devourer of the creation. Asanaya mrityu, the horse sacrifice. He is the great. And only abide the eternal and absolute. So the whole creation will be God. Who will remain then finally? I will also not be there. Only will remain the eternal and the absolute. The non-manifest. In other words, this dread is saying that, look, I am here to bring about pralaya, dissolution, devouring the entire creation. Mother says there were 6 pralayas earlier. And now we are in the 7th creation. I have been swallowing all these things. You have come now, well, this is also my food. I will consume it. And only abide the eternal and absolute. So who will remain? Only the eternal and absolute, the non-manifest. For only the blank eternal can be truth. There cannot be any manifestation. Blank eternal truth. In other words, this also means that even Satchidananda will disappear. Who will remain with the total non-being, non-manifest, the absolute alone. Even Satchidananda will also go away. That is what I am, that hunger, that death, that dread, that is what I am. After all, Satchidananda is a projection of the Absolute. So even that thing also will go away. So such a powerful dread is there. Now you can imagine the magnitude of the challenge Savitri is facing. It is that dread which is so powerful that it can swallow the entire creation, not only the lower but also the transcendental. And what will remain is only the Supreme alone. All else is a shadow and flash in mind's bright glass. Mind, hollow mirror, in which means all that you are seeing and seeing is only your mental creation, mental projection. A splendid figure of its own false self, and dreams it sees a glorious solid world. It is this world, this creation, etc., is only a projection of your mind, of your thought. It has no reality at all, you see. That is what the voice is telling. O soul, addressing to Savitri. Yes.
What is bright glass?
Vision?
Bright glass, what is it? Mind's bright.
Mind, hollow mirror in which ignorance sees.
No. Mind's bright glass. Just before.
Upper lines.
Upper line.
All
No.
else.
If.
All else is
Just
shadow.
the one before. All else is shadow and flash in mind.
All else is, you in the earlier line. All else is a shadow and flash in mind's bright glass.
Which glass?
Means all, you are looking like a mirror.
Ah.
It is in the mirror of mind that you are seeing all these things, you see. In other words, all these things are mental projection. It has no true reality at all. Well, why the dread is speaking so specifically about mind? Because it is mind which gives form to things, measure, dimension, a kind of a specificity, mind. Now, if the measure itself is going to disappear, if the form itself is going to disappear, then where is mind? All this is the creation of only mind, you see. Therefore, he says that, look, all this is my food and what you are saying is only your mental creation. Which also means that by highlighting this mind or hollow mirror, etc., by highlighting this one here, Savitri's problem will be basically to see that there are no mental formations at all. Her mind should stop. She will be told, thoughts come either from the cosmic field or they arise from the subtle body. Throw them away, throw them away, throw them away. Because they are the ones who are giving rise to this illusion of creation, so to say. So the problem is kind of getting again stressed here, that when Savitri has to proceed further in her yoga, she must take care of her mind. She must throw it away totally, you see. O soul, inventor of man's thoughts and whole, thyself the invention of the moment's stream. Yes, who are you? You are a created small little bit. Illusion center of subtle apex point, at last know thyself from vain existence. See, stop. This is all vain, because it is all a mental formation. Stop from all that. So that is what the dread is telling. It is a cosmic dread coming from it. And the dread is so powerful that it can dissolve everything, even the higher worlds. A shadow of the negating absolute. So what is that shadow, that dread? Shadow of the negating absolute. It is the absolute himself who is projecting that everything should get away, dissolve. The intolerant darkness traveled, surging past, and ebbed in her formidable voice. So that voice has ebbed, has withdrawn. See, earlier we are saying, Savitri was saying, the cyclic ronger around the head of Satyavan. She has already seen, she has already received sight of the future. Trikada Drishti has already awakened in the case of Savitri. She can see the future of what is going to happen to Satyavan and all that thing. But that Trikada Drishti will materialize, will become active, will become actual only when she meets this dread and dismisses it. Then only it can become active. A formidable voice is a capital voice again. Of the dread of the Absolute Himself. Negative, because all that is created has to be swallowed back. That great hunger is there. The intolerant darkness travels surging past. Intolerant is not going to accept Savitri's response in any way at all. It left behind her inner world. It left behind her inner world laid waste. You see, it is like that. It left behind her inner world laid waste. So whatever she had gained, that has been laid waste. The inner world. It left behind. So after all that, when that Savitri, that voice has spoken, what is left behind? Her inner world as a waste. All the gains, all the siddhis which she has achieved, they have become inconsequential. They have become vain. A barren silence weighed upon her heart. Her kingdom of delight was there no more. Only her soul remained, its emptied state, awaiting the unknown eternal will. There is always something in Savitri that even in the worst situation, even in such circumstances, she has a conviction that she will get the necessary guidance from the eternal. She is not going to meet the dread by herself. She is going to meet the dread under the guidance of the eternal will. She will follow what the eternal will has to tell her. Then from the heights, a greater voice came down. So, more than that dread, more powerful, stronger than that voice, is the voice coming from the heights. From the heights. From which plane, from which peak, that is not specifying. In other words, there are peaks and peaks and peaks. From somewhere on the heights, the voice is coming down to her. Then from the heights, a greater voice came down. The word that touches the heart and finds the soul. The voice of light after the voice of night. The cry of the abyss drew heaven's reply. Well, this happens in the case of exceptional souls like Savitri. Savitri has nothing to do with it. She gets all those things, so to say. She is open. A voice of light after the voice of light. The cry of the abyss drew heaven's reply. A might of storm chased by the might of the sun. Now you can see here the sun is capital. The might of storm. So that dread was after all a storm, a small little thing. The naked dance of Kali has vanished by some other occult yogic power. It has been taken care of. O soul, bear not thy kingdom to the foe. Don't expose yourself. Hold it, protect it, whatever you have gained, whatever realization you have, the siddhi which you have obtained, hold it back, don't expose it. consent to hide thy royalties of bliss, lest time and fate find out its avenues and beat with thunderous knock upon thy gate. Yes, time and fate, Kala and Niyati will knock on your door and snatch away all your gains. Don't expose, don't open the door, keep them shut. Time and fate find out its avenue and beat with thunderous knock upon thy gate. Hide while thou canst thy treasure of separate self. See again here separate self. Separate self does not mean the outward self. There is something very special in you, something very distinct, something very unique of you alone. Keep it alone. Put it back from others. Don't expose to others. Behind the luminous rampart of thy depths. So behind the fort, luminous fort, inside it, keep it protected. Till of a vaster empire it grows. In other words, it is a small little seed. It has just germinated, let it grow. And strong on its own roots. Till of a vaster empire it grows. But not for self alone. The self is one. Now this is the crucial thing. Yes, you have gained this thing for what? Not for yourself. Self, not for the sake of self. Self for its creation. For the fulfillment of this world. Content, abide not with one conquered realm. One conquered realm, you have conquered inwardly. Outwardly is still remaining. One conquered realm. Adventure all to make the whole world thine, to break into greater kingdoms, turn thy fold. Be the conqueror. Be Alexander the Great and keep on winning kingdom after kingdom. To break into greater kingdom, turn thy foes. Fear not to be nothing, that thou mayst be all. Don't have that fear. That vital is there still in you. Don't be afraid of it. Be nothing. Be shunya. Zero. Cipher. That all may be. When you have emptied out yourself fully, then only all can come and enter into it. Fear not to be nothing, that thou mayst be all. Ascend to the emptiness of the Supreme. Emptiness of the Supreme. That is the whole thrust. In other words, we are really moving towards nirvana. Emptiness of the nothing. That all in thee may reach its absolute. So, that is the function of nirvana. Nirvana for what? Not for the sake of nirvana alone. That through nirvana, whatever is there becomes its absolute. You have certain quality. In other words, you have nothing which is of the lower thing. It has to become absolute. First empty out what is ignorant, throw it out, and then let that become absolute. Then, so the function, the role of nirvana is that all may reach its absolute. So you have to throw it. Ascend to the emptiness of the Supreme, that all in thee may reach its absolute. Accept to be small and human on the earth. Protect your soul. Whatever you have gained, remain small. Interrupting thy newborn divinity. So you see, she has to protect that thing. Something has already taken birth here. Protect it, little child, you see. That man may find his utter self in God. If for thy own sake only thou hast come, an immortal spirit in the mortal world. Who is Savitri? Savitri, immortal spirit in the mortal world. Savitri, the immortal spirit in the mortal world. Now this is the description, Vedic phrase rather, but applied to Savitri. Savitri, the immortal spirit in the mortal world. The Vedas constantly speak of the immortal in the mortal or Agni. Agni, the divine fire, is the immortal in the mortal. the psychic fire. He the immortal in the mortal. So that is now what is applied to Savitri. She is the immortal spirit in a mortal world. She has condescended to pass the portals of the birth. That is a death. She, immortal spirit, has agreed to go through the doors of death. To found thy, for what purpose? To found thy luminous kingdom in God's dark. You have come for that purpose, my dear Savitri. That is your function, that is your mission, that is your job, that is your assigned task for you. To found thy luminous kingdom in God's dark, in the inconscious realm, one shining star. That is what you are. One door into ignorance opened upon light. Why hast thou any need to come at all? If it is not for that purpose, you have no business to come here at all. You are yourself divine. You are yourself immortal spirit. You don't need to gain anything for yourself. Not at all. It is not for yourself. You have come here not for yourself. You have come like a star in the inconscient night to give light to inconscience. To give light to inconscience. Why hast thou any need? She has no need at all. The Divine Mother comes here for the sake of her children, to take care of them. Thou hast come down into a struggling world to aid a blind and suffering mortal race. So, this is what we are, blind and suffering. Big commentary on the human race. It's a big commentary. This is what we are, a blind and suffering mortal race, you see. And the voice herself is saying that these creatures, blind and suffering, they don't see, they don't have eyes to see at all anything, and they keep on suffering. To open to light the eye that could not see, to bring down bliss into the heart of grief, to make thy life a bridge twixt earth and heaven. You see, this phrase is appearing now for the third time here, earth and heaven, you see. If thou would save the toiling universe, the vast universal suffering, feel as thine, thou must bear the sorrow that thou claims to heal. You have come here to heal the sorrow. Unless you bear the sorrow, you can't heal the sorrow. The Divine Mother comes here, accept the sorrow and suffering. Thou must bear the sorrow that thou claims to heal. The day bringer must walk in darkest night. Does the Divine Mother suffer when she takes the human birth? That was the question asked to the mother. On, I think, 9th December 1951, you see, if I remember rightly. Does the Divine suffer? Yeah, 9th December 1953. 9th December 1953. Mother, suffering comes from ignorance and pain. She was asked. Suffering comes from ignorance and pain. But what is the nature of the suffering and pain the Divine Mother feels? Is she subject to ignorance? That she feels pain? The question is, suffering comes from ignorance and pain. So if she feels the pain, it means she is ignorant. The suffering and pain the Divine Mother feels for her children, the Divine Mother in Savitri. It is because she participates in their nature. The Mother in Savitri, she participates in their nature. It does not mean that she is ignorant. She participates in their nature with full knowledge, with full understanding, with full commitment. It is because she participates in their nature. She has descended upon earth to participate in their nature. Because if she did not participate in their nature, she could not lead them farther. If thou save the toiling universe, the vast universal suffering, feel as thine, vast universal suffering is thine. Thou must bear the sorrow that thou claims to heal. If she remained in her supreme consciousness, where there is no suffering, in the supreme knowledge and consciousness, she could not have any contact with human beings. And it is for this that she is obliged to take on the human consciousness and form. Obliged, if she wants to make thy life a bridge betwixt earth and heaven. If thou would save the toiling universe, the vast universal suffering feel as thine. Thou must bear the sorrow that thou claims to heal. Thou must bear the sorrow. I don't know why he's saying that. That voice is saying that she is saying that. She has taken the human birth. She must bear the sorrow. Thou must bear. She cannot but. That thou claims to heal. The day bringer must walk in darkest night. Well, actually, the most poignant description of this is crucifixion of Christ. Most poignant description of that. Unless you bear the sorrow, you cannot heal the sorrow. He who saved the world must share his pain. He, if he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? That is what we have here, what the mother said also. Now see again poetry. You have such beautiful lines everywhere. The vast universal suffering, feel at thine, with crowded syllables. Thou must bear the sorrow that thou claims to heal. The day bringer must walk in darkest night. And here again you have got two absolutely monosyllabic lines. He who would save the world must bear its pain. Absolutely monosyllabic line. If he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? See, the climax is achieved by this poetic excellence. The poetic excellence gives that climax to the whole description which I got here. We had earlier long polysyllabic lines here, and suddenly two lines absolutely monosyllabic. This could not have been achieved by any other technique with that force. The poetry is that, you see. If he who would save the world must share its pain. I mean, psychologically, in the occult content, you understand that necessity. But to bring that thing out in expression through poetic power is something which is very, very remarkable. Only a great poet can do that. If far he walks above mortality's head, suddenly you can see the difference in quality of the poetry. If far he walks above mortality's head, how shall the mortal reach that too high path? If one of their days sees scale heaven's peaks, men then can hope to learn that Titan climb. But that is still doubtful whether man will really learn. Whether he will really learn, see. Grave doubt is there, see. If one of theirs, Savitri had done that thing, people had done, but how many are really awakened, see. Man then can hope. He is very careful also to say hope, you see. To learn that Titan climb, God must be born on earth and be as man. Again, this beautiful monosyllabic line, God must be born on earth and be as man. See, God must be born on earth and be as man. The rhythm. God must, it is tricky, long, short. God must be born on earth and be as man. I am. So this is the first foot is a trochee. Second and third feet, there I am. Fourth feet is a pyrrhic, short, and be as man again. See, the poetic rhythm goes along with the whole thing, you see. God must be born on earth and be as man. That man, being human, may grow even as God. I hope it will happen. It's a big claim, but the voice is saying, yes, it's possible, you see. He who saved the world must be one with the world. Again, absolutely monosyllabic line. He who saved the world must be one with the world. He who, Truckee, would save the world, third, must be one. It is an anapest. With the world, an anapest. You see, monosyllabic, but see, he who, it is a Truckee, short, long, long, short, would save, I am, the world, again an I am, must be one with the world, short, long, you see. He who would save the world must be one with the world. It keeps on resonating, if you read that. All suffering things contained in his heart's space, and bear the grief and joy of all that live. His soul must be wider than the universe. His soul must be wider than the universe. We already have that description in the early part of Savitri. Her love wider than the universe. The whole world could take refuge in a single heart. The whole world could take refuge in a single heart.
But why does he use his he man? And
Well, this is
not
this.
talk to the woman?
Because he is talking of man as a general. God must be born on earth as man.
Yeah, but why talk to
And man means.
What is this man?
Well, that's the language, so you can't help it. Because
Yeah, I know, but I know, but
he is a representative of humankind, of mental being.
In Arabic, the man, there is another word to say the general man.
Oh?
It's not female, it's not.
No, it's not man.
No. In Arabic, we have a word to say the general man.
Yes, general man, humanity.
No, not humanity. There is
Basically,
actually
man, he
another
stands
word.
for.
There is a word to say man, I mean not female, not man.
It is
Man,
not
the
there.
human
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
There is a word.
Yeah.
So it's answer to you. I mean,
This is basically
This
this is basically impersonal, you see.
Yeah, but if the
You
boys
got-
would have said she, it would have been much more sense.
No.
You don't do. well, you can't help it. It's English. See, look. I mean, people make such a fuss of it because, see, for instance, you say, chairman is not allowed. Chairman. They say chairperson. But even in person, you have got son. See? You can't help it, you see. You can't help it, you see. That's the nature of life. Even in person, even in woman, you have got man.
Not in German language. Not in
Well,
In German, you have like, no, not at all. You have completely different.
another word for the man, general man. You have a word for that?
No.
Not really, no.
You use the same man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man is man and woman.
In French also.
Physical.
Yeah, but if you want to speak about the general
Yeah, the Mensch. Yeah, in German it's
you
happening.
use the same
Ja,
word.
nur in German. Der Mensch und der Mann und die Frau ist es. Female is die Frau. And
See, man is here is impersonal. It is not referring to any specific. It is a kind. It is genus. Genesis. It is species. Man stands for species.
Yeah, but English language is.
Well, it's like that. You can't. It's like that. You can't help it. You see.
Not specific.
But I told you that man, you can't escape. Person, you say, woman, you can't escape that. You can't escape that.
In Sanskrit, how is it in Sanskrit? Do you have
Sanskrit, no, Sanskrit, it is not like that. It is, yes, man, it's not neutral, it can be specified.
But you have man, woman, and do you have another word to say the two together as human beings?
No, see, we got male, female both. Distinct. Purusha, Prakriti, Ishvara, Ishwari, Bhagavan, Bhagavati, you see, we have got.